Okay, everybody, this is going to be hopefully a short 5-minute overview for the student assessment course and what we're going to be doing this summer. Our goal that you see here on the screen is just to become more efficient and effective at how we gather, analyze, and use data to inform our practice. So the first thing we're going to focus on is one form of differentiation. Most of you have a good handle on how to differentiate by students' interests or their learning profiles, but when it comes to differentiating by different ability levels or the term readiness, we're not as far along as we need or want to be. So we're going to look at tiered instruction. That was and that will provide us an opportunity to think about how we can adjust instruction so that it's at just the right point for different kids' ability levels and or readiness levels. So we're going to start with that. The next thing we're going to look at is formative assessment or assessment for learning. I know you've already done some work with this past semester and in the fall, but we're going to revisit it again because it is super important. And we're also going to look at how we can engage our students in self-assessment, which you will be doing some of this summer, and how to provide effective and meaningful feedback. Then we'll move on to assessment of learning, the one that most of us are more familiar with. And I know that you spent some time building summative exams in the spring semester for your units. We're going to spend some time looking at how we can design fair exams. We're also going to learn a little bit about the standardized tests that run our lives, and also how we can design performance-based assessments that students can create, demonstrate, solve, do things in order to show us what they've learned. And then finally, we're going to do a brief introduction to this thing called action research. Most of you on the pre-assessment weren't 100% clear what action research is, but really what it is an opportunity for us to gather information about our own work as teachers and then use it to change our practices. The part that we're going to start in MSUD 7132 is you're going to be identifying an area that you want to do some investigation on, number one, and that you want to try to enact some new practice or strategy in the fall during your student teaching experience or internship too. And then while you're doing that in the fall, you'll be collecting information and data and reflecting and analyzing on what you learned. Like, did the strategy you chose to use, was it effective? Yes, no, why not? But for the summer, we're going to hopefully be able to help you identify an area of focus and get you started on a literature review that will frame your action research project you will do in the fall. And then when we're done with that, woohoo, we're done. Okay, I know this is where you'd rather be probably all the time, but we're going to spend a little bit of time learning about how to use data more effectively. Like I said, I wanted to just spend a couple more minutes looking at the syllabus with you real quick. And yes, it's uploaded, of course, into Folio. I'm not talking about all this. Any of the readings that we're going to do this semester are uploaded into Folio. And we'll also be watching some videos and visiting learn boards and all that sort of stuff. But what I wanted to point out here is that you can submit assignments late. The 10 points will be deducted for 24 hours after the deadline. And the big thing here that's an issue is that if you don't submit by the deadline, there's no guarantee that I'm going to be able to get it back to you in time with feedback so you can submit a final draft. Because you're going to be submitting lots of drafts of different things that we're doing. I'm going to be giving you feedback, and you're supposed to be using that to create a final draft. So that's the real danger of not making the deadlines. And the deadlines are going to come pretty fast because it is a summer course. 75% of the grade is going to be your class assignment. So you can see here, this is just the list of some of the things you're going to be creating and doing. Almost every single one of these, the performance assessment, the tiered lesson, the formative assessment plan, all of it, you will be submitting a draft first, getting feedback, and be expected to use the feedback before you submit a final. There's a couple, the reading response assignments you will not be submitting drafts because I know you're quite capable of and have plenty of practice doing those. Okay, so let's get down here. I'll do the best I can to stick to this timeline. Here's your course calendar. So you want to pay super close attention to the calendar because assignments are not always going to be due on the same day of the week. You have to pay attention. Sometimes they're due on a Monday, sometimes they're due on a Tuesday, sometimes it's a Thursday, and you maybe, well, that might seem frustrating. It's for pedagogical purposes because sometimes I think you need more time to work on assignments. So instead of just being rigid and sticking to everything's always due on Tuesday and Thursday, I chose not to do that. It's on you to pay attention to the calendar and the timeline. For attendance verification tonight, all you need to do is log into the discussion there and tell us what you did with your 2-week break. I know, it probably didn't feel like a break, but you haven't been on Georgia Southern campus for 2 weeks, so anyway, share a little bit about what you've been up to, and I will do the same. And then, like I said, we're jumping right in with differentiating with data. So you'll see with each module, there's typically a screencast where I provide an overview and some information, and typically talk through what the assignments are. And then there's also readings, visiting learn boards. Down here, you see we're starting to do some reading. Just pay attention. All the time frames when things are due are 5 p.m. Again, the days of the week are not uniform, so pay attention. And see, I want you to think about, you're going to be submitting, for example, a tiered lesson draft on May 29th. I'm going to be giving you feedback on this, and then the final is due on June 8th. But in the interim, you have lots of other things that you're going to be doing, so you need to stay on pace with the class. I think that's about it. I just wanted to make sure you saw the thing about late assignments, and I sort of beat a dead horse, making you aware of the fact that things will not be due on the same day of the week. All right, I think you should head over to the discussion. Tell us a little bit about what you've done the last 2 weeks, and then let's get started learning about tiered instruction. Thanks.